with this space, we will spread out after I go through the history. So just so you guys know. If we've heard or seen anything other than fucking 40 or anything along those lines that I need to know about, and missed the word wagon.
Someone singing "Walking." That's about it.
Okay. So I just want to make sure you're getting the gist of how to listen to it. So Matthew, have you heard anything yet? Do you go by Matt or Matthew?
Matt.
Matt. Perfect.
Well, either way is fine with Matt.
Yeah, got it. Actually, I think Mom put in Matthew when
Yeah,
this was in
well,
there. I
that's-
actually knew all of your names ahead of time, but I like to put the names to the face when you guys tell me. So that's how I knew your guys' names ahead of time. So anyway, but you haven't heard anything yet?
Wait, so when I hear something, will it sound different than like what I'm hearing? Will it sound like exactly the same, just a certain way?
It'll be just like the radio, because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So let's put it this way: if you hear Harry Styles come through, I want to know the song lyric that Harry Styles sang.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So if anybody's going to help him out, that's the gist of it. So, welcome to a parking lot. You made it. Congratulations. I told you, I'm taking you to weird places. This place used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. Let me first point out that I am not going to be giving you spirit box and communication device people questions like, what color is George Washington's white horse? Like what we did over there with the big red barn. This is where I start withholding information on purpose, so that way you have a genuine experience. So when you guys hear something, I want to know the silliest thing you heard. If it was drop it like it's hot, hands on my knees, any song lyric you think might be just super ridiculous, it might be relevant. Just keep that in mind. So with that said, who the hell were Eliza and Charles Pinckney? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Chucks. That's why we look for secondary clues. I need to know which one's coming through. So with that said, the son and the nephew, signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. I hate politics. If I don't bring it up, they usually do it through a spirit box very angrily for me, like where's my recognition kind of piece. So I brought it up, we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about Eliza. Eliza married Charles at a young age, according to today's standards. I say today's standards because if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, don't expect numbers like 12 and 14 from the colonial times that she came from, because that's when girls got married back then. Expect today's kind of standards. And I bring that up because her husband, Charles, was over double her age when they married. Kind of a creepy age gap then, creepy age gap now. So she was going to marry him because her father was over in England. He thought he was dying. He's going to try to bring all his children home one last time. Eliza didn't believe he was dying. She stayed put, got married, built a house right here where we're standing. It's 1744, by the way, and you don't get married in that year to get a green card. She's not from here. We're not even a country yet. Green cards were not a thing. She did marry him out of love, so...
Saying green now, because you're saying green.
No shit.
Maybe? Yeah. It just
Interesting.
popped up green.
It's almost like she's going to tell the story for me. Interesting.
It did say creek. Is there anything about a creek?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
A river.
No. It
But
said
no
creek
creek.
for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because you need creek to make rice. Or a river. Interesting. Anyway, sorry. My mind will go off on tangents, guys. You got to rein me back in. But anyway, where were we? Green card, right? So she was right. Dad didn't die right away. Instead, he started sending her gifts from England to the space where we're standing. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least a day that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. You're not sure what it is? It's a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. I think you're the only one wearing it tonight. So, because that's how we use it today. When she got the seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep them, keep it going, because it's not always hot here, and then how to make the dye. When she figured it out, she moved it to a cash crop plantation near the Stono River, and she got a hold of her dad. Rice plantation's going downhill. We're going to make a killing with the indigo. We now have an international businesswoman during colonial times.
Say transport.
Okay, Eliza, I appreciate you. I'll be honest, this is one of the spaces I was actually looking to retire this year because we are getting some very angry messages from basically 2 disrespectful guests of mine. So this is a place where it's a prominent English woman. Be respectful while we're here. We're not going to spend a lot of time here. I promise, Eliza, my time here will be brief. This used to be like a 30-minute session. We don't do that anymore. Again, keep it short, keep it brief, tell her history, move on. Be very respectful while we're here. I'm going to go through a very quick series of questions with the communication devices. If you don't get answers to the specific questions that I give you, by all means, cherry pick off of somebody else or come up with your own. Go rogue. Just make sure they're not yes/no questions, and I cannot find any relevance to records of slaves. So do not ask anything about her servants and slaves. So with yours, I'm going to just go ahead and with the creep factor with you and go straight into it. You're going to ask about Eliza's death. So how old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral.
Okay.
Okay, those are going to be your 4 major things. Amy, with yours. So obviously the Ouija board device, we're going to basically be looking for her initials. Her initials are ELP. The reason I'm giving you this is because on your other device is where we normally get which Eliza we're talking to. Charles married 2 different Elizas back to back. The one we just talked about is the second one. Both Elizas have a maiden name that started with the letter L.
Okay.
So you're going to be asking what the maiden name was,
Okay.
and that'll tell you which one we actually have going on.
Okay.
But you and I are going to talk more once I spread everybody out about the Ouija board device, so I can show you how to operate it a little bit further.
Okay.
Lisa,
L just popped up.
the letter L?
Yeah.
Guys, I can't make this shit up, I promise you. The mansion's not here anymore. What happened to it? When did that happen? Those are going to be the types of questions you're going to be asking. I'm also going to give you, please tread lightly with this. This is where we can poke the bear by accident. How many children she had and what their names were. Nothing more about the children. There's a tragedy there. Don't poke the bear. All activity will stop. Scott, have you had any readings whatsoever?
I had a second green one pop, and I think I saw 0.8 is all.
Okay, so again, base is going to be 2.5,
Yeah.
and then we're going to escalate it. So if you go up to 5 and then back down like a 3, I don't want to know anything below that 5. We're going to keep it going up so I don't have a whole
Gotcha.
notebook full of numbers.
Okay.
So cameras, nice slow movements. You're already recording. You guys should have some footage of me at this point. But you're going to spread out. I'm going to keep Amy behind so I can show her how to use the Ouija board. And I'm going to be bouncing around with all of you. I'm going to do 2 quick round robins so we can, be very brief here and kind of get what we need. And I'll give you the answers, and then we'll move on to our next space, which will be an actual alley. So have some fun. Again, get used to those cameras. Again, if you two want to hang out together so she can help you out with the spirit box, I mean, that's the fun part, because again, going like this super slow can put her to sleep. So, so again, try to help out as much as you can. Just make sure your camera's always on the left. You're good. Spread out. Let's do this, guys. We're in the middle of it.
questions again?
Mansion. What happened to it? When did it happen?
Oh my God.
So again, a date. So we're looking for a very specific date. The children of how many and the names. So 4 questions. I gave him 4 questions. I'll give you 4 questions.
Do you know my 4 questions? It's so distracting with the buzzing.
I know.
Can't even.
It's okay. And you guys might switch in the middle. That's fine too. All right,
Did you
Amy,
get
come on
it?
over. Let me show you how to use that thing.
So this
What
popped
happened
orange
to
just
it?
a second ago, but I did not see a high number on this one.
Okay.
So
I didn't hear the second one, and then it was about her kids.
And my questions.
How many kids she had.
How old she was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where
And
she
then-
died from.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Where she's buried. Which president took her to her grave.
Okay.
4 questions.
Okay.
Freak them out here.
Where do you want to go?
Okay, so
Okay.
Just don't hit the red.
Scott just keeps yelling.
Liza, how many children?
What happened?
What happened to your children?
No, what happened to the mansion?
I'm talking about your children. Just kidding. What
hap-
happened to your mansion? song lyric came up, fall over.
So maybe it collapsed.
What were my other ones?
I only remember 2. You would have to ask him. Because it was what happened to it. Something about how many children she had. And there was another child question. Another house question. I just don't remember. I wasn't listening. Oh, it's a sign, I think. Look at the thing. Look at it. But it's definitely that sign. It happened in the other lot with the tree right by the barn. It's my shadow. Sand.
All right, how's it going over here?
I asked her what happened to her house, and the song lyric came over, fell over. That's the clearest thing I have so far. Nothing, but I don't know the other 2 questions. I asked her how many children she has.
What their names were, and when did that happen to the tragedy of the house?
Okay.
So basically, like, what happened to it, and then when did that happen? I want you to also keep in mind, like, you're asking questions, and so are 2 other people.
Yeah.
You might get the answers to their questions, and vice versa. So there's a lot going on here. Most TV shows will only use one device at a time. Notice we have literally 4 different communication devices out here.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for an answer to something. So again, you're gonna ask a question, they're gonna get the answer. So again, no matter how silly of something you heard, if you made it out, I want to know what it is.
Okay.
Like, that's how this goes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You got it. Keep on going.
I have a son, Billy, and I have a daughter, Jess. What are your kids' names? Alexa? I have a daughter, Jess, and I have a son, Billy. I already asked you this.
What?
That's what it said. Liza, do you want to tell me your kids' names? Did you have a Billy? Did you have a girl?
He said not to do yes or no questions.
Do you want to tell me your boy's name?
Elijah, where are you? Good, I'm not really seeing anything. It'll pop up around like signs and that's about it. And like you
I
guys.
haven't caught anything here yet with that camera.
Yeah.
But what's nice is just like I asked him to try to keep a person in view, you do the same thing. So the reason why is because we definitely can get a perspective of like, oh, Matthew's standing right there and we know nobody's next to him.
Mm-hmm.
You have something popping up next to him, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives us a frame of reference.
Okay.
So,
Good.
but yeah, I figured I'd give you the new one, like kind of see how this goes because you were like super eager, eyeballs popping out of your head. I'm like, yeah, she's into it.
I love this kind of stuff.
So what's the relationship here?
It's my mom.
Okay, I figured. I don't like to assume. So.
Liza, how many children did Scott?
Alright guys, let's head back over towards the wall. Let's go over this way. Come on, Dominic. Can I see your windows again? Make sure, again, no fucking shit. Sorry if I keep cursing, you guys just it's the language that comes with this, so. I did write down 40 popped up on this. I don't know what the floor means. So cameras, if you want to give them a break at this point, by all means do so. But the duel that occurred down here, you're going to get different details from me. In the event they're going to exit coming up this way, which they probably will, we'll just split the seas and let them go by, and I'll pause. So again, you're going to get different details from me. Here's how the story goes. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. If you guys hear Brown-Eyed Girl on your spirit boxes, it's not coincidental. It happens all the time. It's just part of his name. So he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancee Amanda. If you just flip that comment, you may want to stop the recording and then restart it to make sure we're not going to have a full upside down video. I just saw it clear. Okay, just want to make sure. But anyway, his fiancee Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of the cash. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. So Dr. Ladd moves down here to Charleston to prove that he's not after Amanda's money. He's going to start his practice down here. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. So somebody was walking by. His name was Ralph Isaacs. Now stop on Ralph for a second because the Ouija board device, this is exactly why we have it. Ralph Isaacs has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. R.I. was showing up on spirit boxes like crazy, coming out of DJ's mouths. Like I was like, this is weird and uncanny, but I need a secondary clue so I know who it belongs to, and we would normally get it. I got the Ouija board device so we can actually get just those letters R.I. So far in the past, I want to say we've had that 7 or 8 months now. We've had it at least twice that I know of, that I can recall.
Say 30 again.
30 again. I got nothing. Not even in this space. It gave you another 30?
Yep.
There's,
It did say soon, and then it said 30.
I mean, he didn't die on the 30th. He wasn't 30 when he died. There's nothing. I don't know where that's coming from. It's so weird. Hopefully there's not a malfunction going on with the app. But anyway, back to the doctor. This is like, yeah, get on with the story. So where was I? Oh, Ralph Isaacs. He tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. This guy's going to try to kill you. But I got some friends at 59 Church Street. You can rent a room there, and you'll be safe and good to go. So the doctor took him up on the offer. They became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's money. So he becomes known as the whistling doctor because Amanda's moving down soon so they can get married. What I'm going to point out to you is that every haunted city you will ever visit has a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. There's actual proof of this one. I'm going to get to that. But anyway, Ralph and the doctor go see plays together.
Oh, this is Gail.
What kind of Gale?
Like just the name.
A-I-L. Gale, like a
A
wind.
woman.
Like
Oh.
a woman's. Well,
A
the
woman's
wind
name?
would be a gale wind.
Like G-A-L-E is Gail.
Oh,
Gail
you're
is,
right. Gale,
Gail is a
wind
woman's
is
name,
A-L-E.
right?
No,
Gale.
G-A-Y
Right, is, yeah.
would be a woman's name. That's a gale of wind.
No,
Google
a
it.
gale of wind is G-A-L-E.
Come on, who's quickest with the
G
phone?
A L E is gale of wind.
G-A-I-L.
Is another spelling of a female
Yeah,
gale.
I think you're right.
And G-A-L-E is the wind gale.
Yeah.
I'm
You guys
nerdy
in
like
English
that.
guy, you guys are throwing me off.
A female.
female or male given name from
Okay.
a Hebrew word joy, meaning joy.
Okay. There we go. There we have it. You were correct. Good job.
Does it matter when like it goes so
That's
high?
just part of the aesthetic.
Okay.
It growls and does all kinds of stupid shit. We just turned it down.
Okay.
I know, right? So, anyway, they go see plays together. Ralph and the doctor. Can't sit next to each other. The doctor gets better seats because he makes more money. That's just the way the hierarchy works. One night they go see Richard III, Shakespeare. They're on their way home talking about the new actress that was in town. The doctor thought she was great. Ralph didn't. The argument turns very ugly when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiance, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. They go their separate ways.
Sorry.
Maybe we start the thought again. So, Ralph has friends here in the city, like I already mentioned. So he goes to see his friends at the newspaper, and he's going to put an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society, sir. The doctor sees the ad, he rebuttals with, let's go to Gould's Alley. We're going to settle this once and for all, somebody's going to die. So they came down, they took their 10 paces, they turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot his one shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. So when I had the courage and bravery to show up, which is often what happens. Some of you have seen Hamilton, you get it. However, Ralph has his one bullet and he puts it in the kneecap. The doc drops to the ground. His friends picked him up, carried him home to 59 Church Street. He didn't die right away. Ralph just proved his point, he's just pissed off still. The doctor dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. Remember, this is 1786. I don't think I mentioned that earlier, but the bullets were much different than what we have now. He was probably trying to bleed out the lead poisoning himself, which is why he refused the medical treatment, because he is a doctor. So, every ghost tour down here will tell you to listen for the whistles. Right? We're using my voice recorder. You don't need to do it. You don't need to listen to it regularly. It's going to be here if it's going to show up. If you're going to do this on your own while you're here in town and walk all the way through the alley using your voice recorders, remember that every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street knows the whistle down the alley. I do it every single night. Now, my garage is right above that little convenience store, so which means I have to pass the alley to get back to my car. I do it every single night. So it's just one of those pieces. You also say you can hear gunshots. We're going to get what this is passed through. Weren't expecting you to jog. I will tell you, because I threw the whistle down there, is when I got kicked out of here. So here's how this part of the story goes. Let's huddle in a little bit, because I don't like the neighbors knowing all those stories. So this particular part is the reason why we're going to the next location. This alley didn't go all the way through. It was actually cut off probably a little bit further than where we're standing now, because this is where they kept all the livestock for the city, which means the bricks on the other side, all the way at the end, are older than the bricks we're standing on. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children, and there is one full handprint from a slave child down there. And I used to go take you all the way down to the end and show off the handprint, but I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid is not staring at that brick in his afterlife. So I'm trying to shoo my group along on November 26th of 2020. Yes, very specific date that actually means something. So the reason I'm doing that is because obviously they're not going to get anything. The other reason is because it's outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful and move along, not realizing I was out of bounds for where tours are allowed to go. I'm still new at this. The new neighbor, the new owner of the mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at, and we moved on. So the next day was Thanksgiving. I don't work Thanksgiving because I worked in retail management for over 20 years, mainly with Walmart. You guys can feel my pain if you want to. So I didn't work. The next day was the 28th. I was working with my partner. I called him up, told him what happened the night prior. He said, go down halfway, which is what you're allowed to do, or reroute your group. So obviously being Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, I told my group we're going to reroute, but I don't believe the story we're going to talk about. I don't know much about pirates because I'm a vampire guy. So before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So I went, shit. We get down there, I told a little bit I did know about pirates in Charleston down there, and somebody else heard the number 300, and I didn't know what that meant, so we wrote it down. I did the research the next day. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th, 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So I went, damn it. Now I got to learn about pirates. Now, everything we're going to be discussing, my master's degree is in creative writing. So lucky you, I can piece together factual data based on multiple resources. So everything we're going to discuss came from a minimum of 2 resources. So again, it's a fun story, but it is a hit or miss location. Now, Pinckney Mansion, to me, was pretty much a wash. Like, we really didn't have much going on other than some readings. I might find something in the spot check of Matt's recording, but I don't know yet. But again, so far we've had diddly squat. We had a couple little things. I'm not super excited yet. Hopefully
Group's
Bonnie's
coming.
going to be coming through. We're going to let them pass through, and then we're going to pretty much follow them. So how about that? You just watch your video about it. More just if something is up there for a long period of time, just means that there's really not much communication. The interesting thing, just with that on location, I normally stop. There's a gate right over there. If you guys can see that or not. Part of the reason why I stopped there is so I remember to tell you what that actually is, because these other tour guides don't know what it is. That gate. Remember that the alley didn't cut all the way through. It's about putting clues together at this point. In the event there was a loser to the duel, that was the gate and shortcuts to get over to the cemetery on the other side. Otherwise, they have to walk all the way down to Queen Street and loop back around the same distance. It's a long time to be carrying a dead body and stopping you from going to get a pint with the winner. So again, they needed a shortcut. Now the wrought iron gate wasn't there. Probably early 1900s, but the archway was definitely there. So again, this is probably one of the most picturesque places, hence the roses. That's why it made sense to me when we started talking. But yeah, it is beautiful down here all the time. And it is always this quiet, even on a busy Saturday afternoon. That's why they see whistles. So we've also got the word whistles on our spirit box recordings. So kind of keep that in mind. I've had whistles from songs show up. Again, just the whistling part. Think of Guns N' Roses' Patience. Think of moves like Jagger. There is whistling in those songs that we get a little snippet of it while we're here. But again, I'll be expecting bleed over from this location. Did you hear something? Is that why you're giggling over there?
No, I just like can't catch anything. Like I don't know how people catch like a little bit of whistling. Like it's a good.
It's
like,
normally
so
me
fast.
catching it the next day.
Yeah.
And again, I listen to that recording every single day. So again, that's the first thing I listen to with my first cup of coffee so I can get it done. That takes the longest amount of time. For those of you recording, continue to record if you want to. But we are going to stay out of the other ghost tours way at our next stop so we can talk about some crazy pirates, some crazy, and again, this is a weird story, but hopefully Anne's going to be there at the same time we are. So let's head up this way. Just super quiet.
Yeah.
Have I screwed up anybody's name yet?
Nope.
Have I gotten you all down? I thought so. How you doing on that thing? Tiny building over there. So that building is the gunpowder magazine. It served 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. The reason why I talk about it is because those crosses on there are not crosses. And it's part of the reason why we're here. Those are earthquake bolts. You guys are from the north? You don't know what the hell earthquake bolts are. Earthquake bolts are turnbuckles. It goes all the way through the roof. So if we have another earthquake, like what I mentioned earlier in 1886, which we have not had one, by the way, of that magnitude, you can tighten the turnbuckles, and it's supposed to tighten the building back up so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, but that doesn't work. So again, it's just, they're all over town. When you guys walk around, you're going to see little squares on buildings, lion heads, pineapples. It's just part of our Charleston. So we still install them. They just don't work. But at any rate, those crosses are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in because it's the oldest government building in South Carolina. That's why it's there. They're trying to protect the oldest government building. It's part of the reason why we're here is because this building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny came here to start a new life. First off, I'd like to point out, too, that the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. Anyway, right in the middle of its construction is where the story begins. So we're finished. The building was finished in 1713. The story begins in 1708. Let's go back to Ireland. A young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you guys with me so far? There's a couple of weird twists in here. The 3 of them are running away from her father's angry wife. So how mad was she that they got to leave Ireland by boat to come here? Just pointing that out. So gentlemen, treat your ladies right or else you get booted out of the boat. Now, they land in Georgetown. That's just north of us, between us and Myrtle Beach. You guys are going to pass through that tomorrow. Now, Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. That means he's sending young Anne down here to be able to sell anything from the plantation. So that's why we're here. This is what I call a familiar. If you guys have watched the TV shows, you've seen the teddy bear to attract a child ghost. This is something she would recognize. It's the same principle. So that's why it's a hit or miss. We have other buildings in the same realm, but not many. This is also allowed on our allowable, where we're allowed to go kind of piece, and we have caught evidence here. But anyway, Anne back home in Ireland was said to be a badass. They say she killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly when Anne was only 7, 8, 9 years old. Remember, this is pirate lore. None of the numbers are going to be exact. Fast forward, Building 713, pirates are coming through Charleston in 1715. Anne's pretty stoked because she's going to fall in love so she can earn her freedom just like a man. That's the way the world worked. First guy she falls in love with, and the SS said first because there's a handful, and we're going to go through them all. First guy is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going. Dad didn't approve. Filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married. And Cormac became Anne Bonny, famous female pirate. However, James Bonny is not Captain Jack Sparrow like what she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer, which means he's a spy for the British. He's a coward. This is not who she wants. A few years later, she falls in love again. Guy number 2, John Reckham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. I'm going to call him Jack through the rest of the story because there's a lot of J names. But anyway, Jack is literally the person that they based your Johnny Depp character off of, just so you guys all know who this guy is. He has his own ship and wants to be part of it. Can't put a girl on a pirate crew. You know why? Anybody? Think family friendly? It's bad luck. Some of you had some dirty thoughts. I saw them. But I get some weird answers to that question. But anyway, he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, you can be part of the crew. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her away from his wife. So she's okay with this. Let's do it. But she's going to be a female in his quarters. So let's put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to know that she's a girl and that Jack let her on the ship. He drops her off with friends in Cuba and says, go have the baby here. Figure it out. Come back later and we'll figure it out. So she goes and has the baby, but returns without a child. We have no idea what happens to the baby. Irony of this part of the story, she comes back dressed like a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. Obviously, everybody's going to know he let a girl on the crew. And while she was away giving birth, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. Anne's going to go flirting, because that's what Anne does. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. Now we have 2 females on the same ship trying to be pirates. This young lady's name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her name shows up here quite often, by the way. But anyway, her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers, because we're not really going to know. And the British find out where they are. They send a whole fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. Rumor is Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1 bullet flintlocks. It's not going to work out too well for them since they don't know how to use the cannons. Obviously, they can't take them out, but they're going to get arrested. And as they're being arrested, Anne looks at her beau, Captain Jack, and says, I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't have to be hanged like a dog. The word dog shows up a lot. Now, the judge wants to see the 2 men, quote-unquote men, that fought back on their own. Calico Jack and the drunk pirates, dead and gone, hung. So they're already gone. The 2 ladies go in front, reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. The judge doesn't give a shit that they're female. He's still going to hang them. They're still pirates. We plead our bellies. It was the last thing they screamed out because you can't hang a pregnant woman during 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails her out, brings her home. She remarries, husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary Reed. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. I know, very abrupt. Mary Reed dies a year later, 1721, from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most books will tell you that it was kind of some kind of fever, something very simple. Let's make it romantic. It's probably scurvy. So, I mean, we're talking pirates. Let's really make it, a big deal. 2 questions I left out of here for you spirit box and communication devices, because you guys know how to ask questions by now. This is a place where you can poke the bear. This is a swashbuckling pirate. Let's do this. Not a prominent English one. Know your ghost. The names of Anne Bonny's parents I left out on purpose, so you can ask that. That's the mom, or the father and the mistress. I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship, so you can ask about that. Anything else you want to ask about? Completely up to you. Again, poke the bear. Don't mind it here. With your devices, I don't expect any kind of EMF. Like, if you do get any, it'll be up there, and that's because of the parking meters and the 2 electrical poles. If you get anything above a 2.5 from the back half, I'm excited, just so you know. With the motion sensor that's broken that we're not using tonight, we would be able to ask Anne Bonny what her hair color is, and she'll show us which light. Like, her hair color was red. Like, we've gotten a direct answer several times. But again, we have had your camera, Dominic, mess up a few times in this location, and what I mean by mess up, a white film will go over a person, any one of us, and their device will stop working. I've seen it several times in this space. Also, the largest orb I've ever caught with the infrared camera that we're not using tonight was caught in this location. It was an orb intelligent, larger than my head. It was coming right behind me. It stopped, it turned, and then went up above me. It was right over there near that wall. So, with your camera, Jess, we have caught an anomaly over on this wall. I'm still trying to figure out if it's from the tree. Somebody else filmed it last night. Made a very similar shape, but not the exact shape. So again, nice slow movements out of it. We're going to know within the first 5 to 7 minutes if we have something going on. Any words showing up on your word list?
Just says local.
Local. What was before that?
Village.
Local village. Okay. Any letters from Luigi?
It's on W right now. I had to restart it.
Okay.
So
Anything from the previous set?
no, well, no, just net. It's a net. Yeah.
Which is still a fishing, like a
Yeah.
piratey style
Yeah.
term, so I'm still gonna write it down.
Yep.
Anything coming out of the spirit boxes? I know it's hard to focus on the pirates and me. Okay. All right, let's get those things cranked up, and we're gonna end by that wall. When I say, all right, let's rally up, we're gonna go over there. I'm actually gonna go over there so I can rearrange the bag from stealing that battery for you. So I'll let you guys get back to work. Oh, I'm sorry.
My questions again.
The names of her parents and Jack's ship.
And then any other
And
questions.
then anything else, you just ask whatever the hell you want to. I just give you something to get started.
Okay, thank you.
I know, I debated doing that for your last set of questions.
How are you doing now?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I was walking up and still like kind of had the tension feeling, but over here I feel nothing. So I feel air.
So you want to go back there?
Yeah, actually. I'm gonna
What's weird,
venture.
that corner where you went, when I said interesting, was because usually with the thermal imaging camera, that's where normally the devices have stopped, is in that corner. So
Yeah.
it's weird that you felt comfort there.
That was the only place I could breathe.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, I felt it like coming in here, and then it was really intense when we were standing. That's why I was like fidgety on what to do. So I'm gonna go back and look over there. See what I see. Who's here? You getting anything?
I asked her what happened to her baby in Cuba, and it said cremation. That's about it. That's the most interesting. You want to switch?
Sure.
Ask away. What am I doing?
Just walking
Just
around
walking.
slowly, yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
It's already recording, so. He said to try to get, like to keep a person in the frame. Where's the... Oh, we have that over here.
Hmm?
Oh, I found it. Never mind.
space that I found, like that weird anomaly, was actually along the ivy wall. So just kind of giving you a heads up, like 2 nights in a row we had similar whatever, but again, it might be from the ivy. There's part of the tree there that I could pick up, but I'm sure you're already learning how it actually picks up like depth perception.
Yeah, I got that tree up there
Okay.
as a person,
Yeah.
but
You're recording. Yes, how you doing?
she's got a. As a trip.
Yep, just move slowly closer to it. Just be mindful there's another tour coming through. Coming up behind you, or people just walking by.
About what happened to a baby and it said blood.
Oh my god.
Did I tell you about the dad name thing?
Did I hear you say Mike?
Yeah. But you told me no.
Ask again.
Because it's the month of November, and after Halloween, I always look for new spaces to start off the new year. So this was where we came. Where we got, we're on a spirit box for the year 1828 specifically, the name Henry and the name Tim. Behind me is Henry Timrod, who was born in 1828. Now, like I was telling you, I knew I heard of him, and I didn't know where, so I had to kind of dive in, because I didn't hear the story here on another tour. I heard it at the Charleston Library Society. This guy was a poet and a writer. Very quick, brief history on this guy. He was sick for most of his life. He was obviously alive during the times of the Civil War, so he went to go fight at the war for the Confederates. He's from here, or local. That's why I said it would be relative. So he goes to fight, and his friends realize he's too sick to fight.
I just had weakness up here.
That's good. So we might actually have some. Normally, when there's a lot of tours in here, this is a shy, introverted writer, so it's very hard to get something out of him when there's a lot of tours in here. So hopefully it stays like this. But anyway, his friends send him home and say, "Go be the voice of the war. Go write about what's going on out here. Tell everybody." So he comes home and he starts writing poetry about what's going on the battlefield. He becomes known as the laureate of the Confederacy. For us writers, that's a high prestigious title. A few years later, he has a son. You guys are going to know his name, but they won't. The son's name was Willie. He was born on Christmas Eve. Willie, with a W. He was born on Christmas Eve, and he died 9 months later, October 23rd, 1865.
He said die the same time you did.
You should have had that the whole time, so my bad on the mixture. But at any rate, so Henry, the father, is pretty sad after this. He has a wife named Katie. So he has a college friend that calls him up and says, "I have a cottage out in Columbia. Why don't you come out here and you can continue working on the piece you're supposed to be writing and kind of leave Katie to mourn. Her parents came down, whatever." So he takes him up on the offer, and that's where he wrote his last words. The last words he wrote were "Beholder of brief mortality," meaning translating to person of short life. He coughs, and it lands on the page in a blood stain, had tuberculosis. The blood stain looks like a man writing at his desk. It's kind of creepy. Now, they show this page one day a year on Halloween at the Charleston Library Society where this man's collection is being held. You have to be a member of the society in order to be able to go see it, I believe. However, the internet is beautiful. I'm going to show you this page, and they call it the Blood Book. So, the Blood Book, I normally would read like a quick stanza, but with the SS method we're going to be trying tonight,
Oh god.
and you can
Oh,
see it.
yeah.
It's like a person in the
Yeah.
picture right there.
Even the last words of beholder of brief mortality, and then he dies, like that's kind of a creepy thing to do. But I'm not going to read the stanza tonight just because I want to explain the SS method a little bit before I give this kid the blindfold and kind of see where it's going to go, just so he's not weirded out. So we're going to keep him seated the whole time. Again, we don't want him wandering around. We're all going to be kind of tight-knit to him because if other tourists start to come through here, I don't want them stealing my ideas. They already ask you guys all the time, like when we spread out, they say, what's he got you doing now? You know, that kind of thing, because they know I'm always updating my gear. Nobody else does what I do. So let's go get him a blindfold and see what we can capture. This is the space where we caught the gentleman leaned up against that tree over there, moving around. Like you can see him moving his legs. He's got his arms up like he's reading a book. Like it was very interesting, and it was there for about 24 seconds.
Was it on this then, or
It was on the SLS.
Oh yeah.
So we had a full stick figure. Part of the reason why I have that camera, somebody brought the big one you guys see on TV to my tour, and we had a full 8-minute interaction with a figure inside this gate. So I walked around as kind of a reference point, and it was an interaction. Henry, is it okay for me to read your poetry? Raise your right hand. We got the raise. Yeah. Yeah, so very cool stuff. That's why I started really diving into the camera. All right, let's go get this kid blindfolded. Let's do this.
Go get this kid blind.
You made a comment about like it's hit or miss if we get something here. And the thing said, you win some, you lose some.
Tell him that.
I don't want to. Eyewax is gross, everybody.
Sorry.
It's okay. This is why I'm testing it out for the new sword. It's in the middle, so you kind of pull up that felt, and you'll see like a perforated egg ring. And that's for the ear holes. Go to the center, and it separates right here.
Like this way?
Yeah, it's 2 pieces.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And you peel it off?
Yeah, it'll like rip.
Oh, gotcha. Ah,
So that way it doesn't, and then it rips in the center, so it just goes over here. It's not going to go over
gotcha.
the
Yeah, gotcha.
So blindfold yourself up, and then you're going to put your hand out so I can hand to this guy.
So this is what it is.
You got it.
A little too much damn hair.
I'm testing out all of this, so this is still relatively new. It's only the second time we've done this on the tour. All right, cool. All right, so put your hand out. I'm going to hand you a set of the earbuds and the headphones, and you're going to put them over your ears.
This says gaze right now.
G-A-Z-E?
Yeah.
We just block his gaze.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
What the hell am I doing? Why couldn't I listen to the story?
He didn't want to leave him by himself.
Oh,
He
okay.
said,
He can fend for himself.
You're
Yeah, they're brand new.
There you go.
teamwork. Yeah.
dream work.
It's almost here again. Watch.
I gotta give you
Oh,
this
perfect. Turn your volume up. Crank that thing up. So you can't hear us at all. Alright, so shouldn't be able to see, shouldn't be able to hear us whatsoever. What question do we want to ask first? Henry,
one. Oh. remember either. Do you guys remember?
Henry, why don't we start with the name of your wife? If you're here, tell us the name of your wife. There's Dominic here. He's got a set of white things over his ears, and he can't see, so he can only hear you. Maybe he missed the point of he was supposed to talk. Henry, we want to know what your wife's name was. I know you wrote a poem about her. Are you getting any words at all?
I have YLC and O.
OH. Help him out. Maybe he's not getting. He's supposed to tell us what he hears.
Yeah. Alright.
Can you hear
Did
us?
you hear anything?
No, I mean I couldn't make out like one word.
You couldn't make out one?
And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to continue to use the person that was listening to it all night, because they're a little bit more trained for it.
Yeah.
So, let's get mad at him.
Okay.
Do you want to separate blindfold, or are you
No.
good with taking hits? Okay. Figure as much.
Oh, this just goes under the ears.
Yeah. I didn't want to mess up people's hair, so I did the earlobes.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with their hair. Now you're supposed to say what you hear.
I know.
He's got it.
I'll try not. Just like have him punch me if I'm talking too loud.
Yeah, you gotta pull down. Yeah, brand new, so they're a little stuck. Alright. Now the problem is he knows the answers.
But he didn't even remember. Remember? Like, I don't even remember.
Okay. And tell us the holiday of when your son's birthday is. I want to know the date of your son's birthday. You can use numbers to tell us. Henry, why don't you tell us what you did for a living? His voice just started getting it. It is hard to do. Yeah, I will tell you that, especially if you're not trained. Like to actually speed up the process. Okay.
Let me try it. Is it just hard to?
I can't
Just
make
like
out.
white
I can't-
noise.
Yeah, it's like they're not.
That's a lot of it.
It's like I hear mumbling, but I can't like hear any actual words.
Even what you think is what is coming through is what we want to know. Like that's usually whatever your first instinct is. A lot of people are hesitant to tell you. Like, oh, I heard Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's okay. We need the color red. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
But it's so weird because it's like I barely heard anything even like over there too. Like when we have like the earbuds in too. So it's like I don't.
I mean, we did struggle with fearful. And I was actually looking to how about you? Even further. Because sometimes when those voices come through, like they come through.
Yeah, I couldn't even like even like I thought before.
I probably have to turn that volume up. I don't want him to hear the answer. He doesn't know the answer, so we might be
No.
something different. Alright, perfect. Henry, tell us what you did for a living.
Danger.
This is not dangerous, Henry. It's just us. These folks are trying to learn about you. Tell us what you did for a living.
Casey.
We'll try again. Henry, tell us what you did for a living. Now, you didn't make much money doing it, and you weren't very proud of doing it. Tell us what you did for a living.
Danger.
What's dangerous? I want you guys to recall that the wife's name was Katie. He did say Casey.
Oh, so he could.
Rachel.
I don't know who Rachel is, Henry. Why don't you tell us who Rachel is? Let's huddle in a little bit. Just kind of enjoy the park. Who's Rachel?
Pushback. Katie.
Okay. Thank you for that, Henry. I really appreciate that. Now, can you tell us what you did for a living?
Rosemary.
Rose is good. I'm going to explain that. Tell us what you did for a living. Are you getting any of that?
Here and there, I've gotten a couple.
Henry, I know it's hard to talk about your son, but give us the date of your son's birthday.
Scythe.
When was your son's birthday? Okay, I might be poking a bear with the sun. Can you tell us your birthday, Henry? Give us the numbers of your birthday.
Alice.
Alice and Rachel.
Thank you.
We're not asking about the sun anymore.
Yeah. Tell us your birthday, Henry. Tell us something about you.
Tree.
Saw you by the tree the other night.
Instagram.
I did not post it on Instagram, Henry.
Fire.
Like synchronous. It's going super fast. There's no way that it's going to match up. Because you're on slow speed. Alright, Henry, last question. I want you to tell us a number of your birthday. I know what your birthday is, but these folks do not.
Water. 3-5.
Is it your birthday?
Also today, yeah.
It is. Well, happy birthday, buddy. Celebrating life by looking for death.
I know.
Henry. We're only going to do this for another minute or two. Tell us your birthday. Do you know a Rachel or Alice that may have passed on? That is just. Okay. Your birthday, Henry. What is it?
Rock. Lincoln.
Would have been the president during his time. It was in the Civil War. I like it.
Julie.
In case there's something wrong
What do you got? Are you hearing the same stuff?
here. No.
Is something going on with you?
Rock is my godson. Julie is my niece. It's just weird.
What does 3-5 got to do with it?
I don't know.
What are they doing today?
I don't know.
Are they that old?
They're
Normally what will happen is if these are living folks, which I'm guessing they are, somebody that they know that's passed on is giving us clues to let us know that they're here, but they're not giving us their name. They're giving us clues to specific things that they would like.
stop.
I mean, what are things when somebody's
After like 10 minutes of this, he's probably going to start to get disoriented. So I'm going to give him another minute.
Okay.
Now that the other story's coming through, that's where things are going to probably start to die down with Henry. So, because he doesn't like the crowds. Henry, one last shot. Whatever your next term is that you want to tell us, we'll take it, and we're going to end our conversation.
Andy.
Do you know an Andy?
I do.
Same type of family
No.
member? I'm going to ask a yes or no question.
I got a BB.
Jesus.
Somebody here that wants to talk to Lisa and Jess, you can answer yes or no.
Child.
Answer yes or no. Are you here?
Breast cancer. Bacon.
Is this all relative? Is it all relative?
It's random as hell, but it's all ringing.
Who is here that that's trying to talk to Lisa and Jess? These are very specific terms to them. I know I said one more term, but you just spouted off a whole bunch of stuff. What else do you have? Anything else showing up on your end?
It just said meat for like the longest
Like
time.
MEAT?
M-E-E.
Oh, 'cause we had
Meningitis. Spinal meningitis.
Is that relative to tuberculosis? at all?
Oh.
Does anybody know? Okay. It's just random.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a health commercial. I heard. That's a long phrase. I mean, more than 3 syllables. I'm like, holy shit, how do you get
Yeah.
Andrew, by the way, is my middle name.
Oh,
So,
Andy.
Andy. Let's tap him out.
Good job.
He can't hear you.
Oh.
All right.
You okay?
Yeah,
You
it
good?
takes, we're going to give you a few minutes. You're going to get a little disoriented. It's not easy.
You good?
We got a lot of
It's
information.
yeah, it's hard. I'm sure I missed several. I just couldn't make it out.
Well,
You
who has
got
the
a
recording
lot
one?
of stuff.
Do you have a recording one? No. Well, the cool thing is we all are going to have that on the recording. So, put it around, make sure it gets cooler. Yes, it is. So we're good. So it's going to be on your recording. So here's the relevance of the things that you didn't know that you gave us that were relevant. First off, you gave us a lot of names and terms relative to these two. They were giggling the whole time.
Yeah. Like
actually.
knees.
So, like, what were some of the terms, just so you know?
Rock, Julie.
I got BB, which is what.
They call my mom.
Yeah.
Just like a whole.
And Rock and Julie are other family members.
Yeah, just.
You
Is it
gave us-
breast cancer?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. Oh, I'm going to get to the rosemary thing that you heard.
Yeah.
So, you said rosemary. The house that we talked about where Dr. Ladd lived at 59 Church Street is 0.3 miles that way. So it is called the Thomas Rose House. We keep getting relative terms to the house
Flowers a lot.
in this space, and I had to look up to see how close it was. 0.3 miles from where we're standing. So just so you have that idea. You gave us Casey at first, and I kind of made a note like the wife's name is Katie.
Could very well have been.
You
Then
said Katie. You did.
said Katie.
Oh, well, yeah, because I thought I heard it more than once.
So that is probably the most, like, other than your guys' personal work.
Whatever that is.
But the cool thing is you're going to have the regular audio of this, and obviously it's going to be on your films, so that way you guys can actually have kind of like a keepsake. When personal experiences like this happen, like, you can't make it. So, yeah.
What was the meningitis? Did that mean anything?
So I'm going to look to see if meningitis, the gentleman we talked about actually had tuberculosis.
I know I heard clear as day meningitis, and I thought maybe I heard spinal, but that was a little more garbled. But I
You
heard
gave us
meningitis.
3 syllables. Like more
Yeah.
than 3, and I'm like, holy cow. So,
Instagram.
oh,
We cackled on
he
that one.
also gave us the word tree.
Yeah. And
We
he-
found a figure next to that tree last night from the SLS camera, moving around, looking like he's reading a book. We're talking about a poet. So again, it was very specific. The reason why we tapped you out is because Henry is his name is Henry Timrod. He's a very introverted writer.
Yeah.
So when there's a crowd, he kind of shies off. Now you did say push back, but nobody was here yet. So it was. You said thank you. He
Yeah.
stopped talking about his very young deceased son.
Yeah.
So again, very neat things have
Yeah.
happened here.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind
Yeah.
of excited. I would
Yeah.
probably throw a good solid 10 points at this. Notice I didn't write any of this down because I wanted to stay focused on like how did this work. So what I'm going to do at this point is the people who had the blindfold on, comfortable, uncomfortable.
I was fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it was comfortable. It was just hard work.
And
Yeah,
then-
it took me a while to get going because you gotta almost have to filter through the noise, and it's almost like it's in the background. And some words are really clear, others are so quick that I felt like I thought I knew, but by the time I was gonna say it, I was
You're
10
already
words ahead.
I
Yeah.
bet if I kept it on for longer, I could have started.
Was it as loud as it could go?
I don't know.
It was decent. It was pretty loud.
Yeah, I could have. Loud.
Could you hear us at all?
No.
The noise canceling
I
headphones.
couldn't hear. I could see. If somebody walked in front of me, I could see the
Shadow.
light change when I had my eyes open a little bit. But no, I couldn't hear him.
Okay.
Was I
I know it's a little
No.
hard to get them started, like to
Yeah.
like break them apart because they're still relatively
Yeah.
new. But otherwise, once you got them on, they're okay.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
fine.
they
I
were
mean, even
I'm looking at your head, like the size and that kind of thing. So
No, yeah. It was,
I wanted to. That's why I had my hands up, because the harder I pushed him, the more.
The less noise.
It felt like it was clearer when I did hear something.
Sure.
But if it could go louder, I would recommend turning it, because it wasn't too loud. But it was almost like sometimes I wished it would have been a little bit louder. But I was gonna say turn it up, but I didn't want you guys to think that that's what I
something
heard.
you heard, right?
Yeah.
So here's how this is going to work with the Spirit Box Boot Camp. Just kind of give you a gist. Like it's going to be 3 people doing this at once. Like it's going to be 3 blind mice, literally. So we're going to have blindfold 3 people. It's only going to be groups of 6 because I only have 6 communication devices. So the 3 people that use Spirit Boxes with earphones, they're going to be the ones that are going to be sitting here. The 3 blindfolds, I'm going to tell the other 3 the history like I did with the other group tonight, and then we're going to come back and this will be the last session. But I want you to always keep in mind with nothing but Spirit Boxes, no cameras. Those Spirit Boxes will be sped up with each new location that I take them. So I'm training their ears a lot better to do this. I took you guys from 0 to 60.
Yeah.
They're going to be going 0 to 20 to 40 to 60.
I definitely think if I were to do it a few more times, at
Right.
some point it would. You got to dig to find kind of almost what frequency you're listening on, because there is a lot going on. I heard singing a couple times, but I couldn't make out what they were saying. So.
But training your ear, even
Yeah.
in a 2-hour time frame. I actually do a teachable course online about how to use a Spirit Box effectively. Because a lot of people want to go straight to the fastest thing and wait for the white noise to make
Somebody's
it
just
happen.
laughing.
And what I talk about is the ratio of accuracy. So the slower your spirit box, the lower your ratio of accuracy. You're going to get a big grab bag of bullshit from
Right.
like the word list.
Right.
And only, half of
And
it's going to be relevant.
I actually would say, did you have it as fast as it could go?
No.
I would even, if I could do it over, I would say turn it up and even speed it up a little bit.
Last
more.
night I went as fast as I could, and the person could not grasp it.
Okay.
So we didn't have anything come out of that session at all. So that's why I was like, let me take it down two notches.
And I may be completely wrong, but I feel, just thinking back, I feel like if it was going a little bit faster and it was definitely louder, I might have gotten a few more things, whether
Sure.
they were relevant or not, I don't know.
First time I ever tried this, I was in a group of 40 people. Two podcasts invited me to the St. Augustine Lighthouse. Obviously, I have all the gear, and it was a big promotional stuff for me. So, of course, I went, and they said, Nick, have you ever done the Estes method? And I'm like, I'm in. Just give me the headphones. I'm good. And you have to imagine, this is what I do for a living every day.
Right.
So I went in, and it was on the fastest speed. I cranked it up, took their headphones. I taught these people more things about what I found out of that data because we recorded the whole thing with my cameras, that I was able to write down everything I heard and then research it. I didn't know a lot of the things that came out of that. I had names of people that were relevant to the St. Augustine Lighthouse that they weren't even talking about. Like through my research, I was like, oh, Paul did this. He was a playwright. Here's the name of his play. Here's the year that he wrote that play. Like it was all there. But the cool thing is I was there. Like they had to tap me out because I just kept going.
You kind of get in the groove. One thing I couldn't pick up, whether it came through or not, was numbers.
Okay.
Like I couldn't.
We were asking for numbers.
Yeah.
See, and
Yeah.
I figured you were based on some of the stuff you'd asked, and I kept listening for them, but I never got anything clear.
Okay.
But I figured that the numbers are going to be real quick because they're short,
Right.
one, whatever.
Well,
So I may have just missed them.
just so you guys know, the birthday that I was asking for is December 8th. So again, 12/8 would have worked. You did give us 3/5, which is obviously today's date and
Yeah.
somebody else's
Yeah.
birthday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's related.
So I think at this point we have plenty to work with. I'm excited. Like this was finally, something actually occurred, personal.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, that
of
was
course,
that kind
Yeah.
um,
Take it with you.
Welcome to our lives. Just another day.
you guys are awesome, by the way. Like this was when I have fun.